Hello you most beautiful and most amazing top 10ers, how are you honeys doing today? Magnificently I hope. I'm Rebecca Felgate, your friendly neighbourhood top 10 host, and today we are talking the world's most famous landmarks. Join me on a fun trip around the world with 10 glorious stopovers. In at number 10 we have the Sydney Opera House. Now this is in Sydney, Australia. The impressive Sydney Opera House is Australia's most iconic man-made landmark. Located on the Bennelong Point in the Sydney Harbour, the Sydney Opera House was designed by Danish architect Jon Utzon. Now he designed this in 1958, and after years of developing the designs and constructing the building, it was finally opened in October 1973. These days the Sydney Opera House is a major tourist attraction, hosting 1.2 million people a year as audience members in the 1,500 shows that take place inside it each year. Next up we have the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, USA. Now the Golden Gate Bridge is a suspension bridge that spans the Golden Gate Strait from San Francisco to Marin County. Now the bridge has been declared a modern wonder of the world by the American Society of Civil Engineers. The Golden Gate Bridge is the most photographed bridge in the world and was designed by Joseph Strauss, Ivan Marrow and Charles Ellis. Now construction began in January 1933 and the bridge finally opened in May 1937. Now the fabulous Danny Burke has actually done a top 10 video entirely for this bridge, so if you'd like to know more about it then check out the video over here. Although watch this one first because a honey gotta finish and you'll never know how it ends. One beginning we know very little about is our number 8. At number 8 we have Stonehenge in Wiltshire, England. Now Stonehenge is a massive ring of standing stones near Salisbury in England. Now this area of the UK is actually very beautiful, so as a Brit I recommend that you all go and visit, again after this video. Now Stonehenge dates back between 3000 BC to 2400 BC, with many suggesting the earlier date is the most likely. Now this is absolutely insane. This means Stonehenge could be over 5,000 years old, making it one of the oldest surviving pieces of what we would call, I guess, architecture in the world. Now there is evidence on site to suggest that the area has been in use as far back as 8000 BC, so 10,000 years ago. Now as of now, people still have no idea why Stonehenge was built and for what purpose, with many suggesting it could have been an ancient burial ground. Now the site has been listed as an UNESCO World Heritage Site and is owned by the Crown, meaning the Queen of England. She owns Stonehenge! In at number 7 we have Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So Christ the Redeemer is an Art Deco statue of Jesus made from soapstone and is synonymous with its location in Rio in Brazil. Now the statue was designed by French sculptor Paul Landowski, with the face created by Romanian sculptor Gregor Leonida. Sorry if I said that wrong, but it's a Romanian name. So Christ the Redeemer sits atop the Corcavo Mountains overlooking the city, and it was finally erected in October 1931, almost 100 years after the idea was suggested by a local priest. In at number 6 we have the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Now this is one of my personal favourite landmarks because it is so hilarious. Now the Tower of Pisa is a bell tower in the Italian city of Pisa in the district of Tuscany. Now this 183-foot honey was constructed between 1173 and 1372. Now the tower's tilt began during construction due to inadequate foundations and soft ground on one side of the tower. Can you imagine how people reacted when this ornate tower was like grandly unveiled? They would have been like, excellent work Gino, but yeah, it's wonky. Awkward. There we go. But without this characteristic wonk, people wouldn't love it like they do today, with many tourists flocking to the tower to create that classic picture. You know, the one where they're like, you know, we've all seen it. That one. It's a classic. So from a wonky tower to a straight standing tower, in at number 5 we are taking a trip to France. That's right, we have the Eiffel Tower in Gay Paris en France. Now the Eiffel Tower is pretty much symbolic of France, let alone its home city of Paris. The Eiffel Tower is 984 feet tall, with a top deck open for public at 906 feet, so pretty tall. The Eiffel Tower was constructed in 1889 as the elaborate entrance to the 1889 World's Fair. Now it is the most visited paved monument in the world, with around 6.91 million people visiting the structure in 2015 alone. Now, the Eiffel Tower is named after the engineer Gustav Eiffel, whose company designed and built the tower, which was formerly the tallest structure in the world, holding the title for 41 years until the Chrysler Building was built in 1930. Journeying over to Asia at number 4, we have the Great Wall of China. Now, the Great Wall of China is an ancient structure spanning from Dadong to Lop Lake, measuring 5,500 miles, so 8,850 kilometers. Now, the Great Wall was built between 220 and 206 BC by Quan Shing Hangguid, and it was rebuilt and maintained during the Ming Dynasty, which existed from the late 1300s. Now, the wall spans such a great distance that it's hard to pinpoint one particular part of it as the main tourist destination, but millions of people visit a part of the wall each year. It's actually my mum's dream to go, and I would love to be able to take her one day. Next up at number 3, we have the Taj Mahal in Agra, India. The Taj Mahal is a grand ivory white marble mausoleum on the bank of the Yamuna River in Agra. Now, this is listed by UNESCO as the jewel of Muslim art in India and one of the universally admired masterpieces in the world's heritage. Now, these days attracting around 7 million visitors a year, the Taj Mahal was commissioned in 1632 by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. It was eventually finished in 1653 at a cost of 32 million rupees. Declared one of the new wonders of the world, the Taj Mahal is arguably the world's most elaborate tomb. Speaking of tombs, in at number 2 we have the pyramids in Giza, Egypt. Now, there are actually around 130 pyramids across Egypt, but the main concentration of them and the biggest of the lot can be found in Giza on the outskirts of Cairo in Egypt. Now, the pyramids were built as tombs for important people such as pharaohs, and they also took their triangular shape because it represents a primordial mound from which the Egyptians believed the earth was created. I'd actually be totally up for making a top 10 on the pyramids or ancient Egypt because I find them fascinating. So guys, we have reached that all-important moment in our top 10 most famous landmarks in the whole wide world, where I'm going to reveal the number 1 spot. I for one think we should do a part 2 though, as there are so many cool ones I haven't even mentioned yet, so there we go. So here we go, in at number 1 we have the Statue of Liberty in New York, USA. Now, the Statue of Liberty is widely considered a symbol of the United States of America and sits pretty on its very own island between Manhattan and Staten Island in New York City. The Statue of Liberty was designed by Frederic Auguste Bartholdi and built by Gustave Eiffel, who you've heard about earlier in this list as he created the Eiffel Tower. Now, the statue was a gift to the newly independent United States by the people of France. Very generous of them. Now, the statue is of the robed Roman goddess Libertas and is an icon of freedom. Now, my favourite fun fact about the Statue of Liberty is that it was originally brown. Now, if you think about it, this actually makes a lot of sense, as the statue is made of copper, which when it oxidizes turns green in around 15 years. But can you guys physically imagine a brown Lady Liberty? It goes against everything I believe in America. So confusing. So guys, that was the top 10 most famous world landmarks. I'm Rebecca Felgate. You can follow me on Instagram and check out my own vlog channel. For now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around the internet, and be a hun and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10. I'll see you honeys next time.